Many people ache for a place to come home to, a place that quiets the din, a place that provides succor and comfort, a place that provides safety and stability, a place in which no one else has the right to interfere, a place where you can finally experience peace. Having a house or having a home is to have access to dignity and security, access potentially to collateral. Access such as this is in desperate need in our country as waiting lists age and applications swell. The voices of those taking government on for failing to respond effectively have risked being sidelined and have in desperation turned to the courts for help. On Madam Speaker, we ask who is responsible for fixing our housing crisis? Why haven't they done so effectively? My panel from the Housing Development Agency, Tebogo Sejane, from the Inner City Federation, Siyabonga Mahlangu, and my jury, Manda Makwarela, senior researcher at SERI, Lerato Marole is an activist from Slovo Park. It's an informal settlement here in Johannesburg, and Social Housing Regulatory Authority CEO Rory Galoka completes the trio. So let's get straight into it. Good evening to all of my guests. Thank you so much for being with us. I mean, it's a serious, serious issue, and we know how important having a home or having a house is for people. Let's talk about the Housing Development Agency. Part of your job is to take care of this problem.
Yes, it is.
Why have you not been able to?
The main mandate of the HDA essentially is to access land, is to assemble land for purposes of delivering housing settlements. So we have done what we are supposed to do as the HDA to acquire land and release it for human settlement. Remember that we're an agent of government, and
both the national and the provincial governments.
Yes,
right.
And we are an entity of the human settlement government.
Okay.
Department. So we work with them, and we work with provinces, municipalities and metros to assist them to deliver on the housing requirements that they have.
All right, but deliver you have not, which is why we have a crisis. Why?
We have delivered, I mean, in total, as the sector, we have delivered 4.6 million houses. The target is a moving target in the sense that there's always migration into the cities, there's always demographic changes and all of that. So we are looking for coherent, we have developed coherent programs to ensure that we deliver on the needs of...
Give me a sense of the deficit really quickly in terms of the delivery out of that...
2.6 million at this point. We believe that we have that kind of deficit. It grows all the time.
And how long has that deficit been in existence?
It's about, in the last MTSF period, it's around the last 5 years or so.
Is that a long period?
Yes, it is a long period.
All right. Siyabonga, you're hearing a representative from the HDA. You work with the Inner City Federation. It's people living in the inner city, in those buildings, who have risky existences. They don't have security of tenure there, do they?
No, they don't have, because of the way that they're being treated. Especially the city of Johannesburg, they are trying to displace the poor people from the city. If you can look, the houses that they are saying they did deliver, yes, we see those houses, but they are unaffordable. They are not a low-cost rental. If you can see the rent, maybe the lowest rent from their side that covers the person who earns 1,500, it's 800 rand or 850 rand, which is unfair. If you can look, the act that says a person should not spend more than 33 or 30% from...
So that's already over the threshold.
Yes.
So let's try and breach the divide here. So these houses that you talk about developing, I mean, part of the mandate, and we'll speak to the regulatory authority in a second, is for inclusive housing. So it's people across the housing spectrum. How many in the demographic that Siyabonga, the poorest of the poor, the most exposed, how many housing opportunities or houses have you provided for those on your register?
We don't provide houses directly. As I said, we work through municipalities.
Yeah, well, that's why I said on the register. Yeah.
As I said, it's about 4.6 million over the years. For inner city renewal, I think Rory can assist with that because we have specific programs for specific demographics. We have programs for rural communities, you have programs for inner city renewal, you have programs for informal settlements. And when I was chatting to him earlier on, he was talking about that, you know, they live in an informal settlement within the city.
Yeah.
So the informal settlement upgrading program is targeted at ensuring that those who are in the inner city and do not have access to affordable housing can actually access.
I mean, I asked Tebogo for a working view of where she sees some of the problems and the delays and obstacles coming in. But for you, where is the obstacle? You were saying in principle, nobody's caring about the poorest and most exposed living in the inner city in places like Johannesburg. You know, what are some of the other reasons you think people are in that situation there?
It's because when you look at our local government, They want to make the profit out of the poor. And they know that those people, they can't afford that thing, and they want to displace them and push them away. They don't know why we are residing within the inner city as the poor people.
Are you being targeted?
Yes.
By agencies like the HDA, or or by the agencies from the city enforcement agencies?
Yes. Because even now there is a program that they are trying to run of 84 buildings. They're taking those buildings from poor people and give it to private developers.
All right. So what's the solution then for the people that Siyabonga is talking about?
I think we need to look at this comprehensively, because it's not just, if you look at the mandate of government, and particularly this government, is to ensure that we provide coherent housing solutions for all sectors of our society.
Right.
And inclusive housing opportunities for
But let's talk specifically now about people like the one, we'll talk about Slovo Park in a second, but the kinds of people that Siyabonga is talking about. What role can the HDA play insofar as their housing provision needs are concerned?
We can work with them and the municipality, the Joburg City, because you are in Joburg City, right? Joburg City, to assist with the facilitation of access to land that is for housing development.
In the city?
In the city. So it could be a building that is being, that can be sold for us to access and then turn it into an inner city.
Have you started doing that?
We have done quite a couple of
programs. Give us an example of where it's worked for you.
It's worked in what's this? In the inner city. I think, Rory, there's some projects that we've partnered with you on, and Rory can give a bit more information.
All right, because that's what I'm interested in. So there, there are plans, there is a deficit, we have some way to go. How do we evolve it to a place where there is equitable access for people who feel most exposed in places like informal settlements and in the inner cities? Our jury weighs in next. You're watching Madam Speaker.